All right. What's up, dudes? Happy to be back. It's your boy Joey Medina, aka Carl Weezer 69. Bring back the podcast here for the day. Been watching a lot of Dynasty content on YouTube, and this is one of my uh, favorite segments I like to do since it's pre-draft. We've got no landing spots right now for guys, so I figured now or never here in the next month I need to be doing a mock draft with fake landing spots. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go on a mock draft simulator on online, and it's going to randomize landing spots. Some of them are going to be completely ass, maybe even stupid or crazy or something like that. But at the end of the day, that's how the NFL draft goes. Sometimes these guys that we really like go to really crappy landing spots or places we didn't think they were going to be or never thought in a million years would be. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go through the draft order a little bit here and then try to do an impromptu mock. I don't have anything to keep track of the mock or anything. So just keep an eye out. Maybe you're just listening for the fun of it. But without further ado, I'm gonna share my screen, and yeah, we'll get a look at this mock draft. Now, I will say this mock draft, I did 5 rounds, um, so we'll see. Um, because, well, first of all, just because I would imagine that we're not drafting anybody past round 5 in a 3 round rookie draft. So yeah, as you can see, you might probably already been looking at how this mock draft shook out. This is round 1. Cam Ward to the Titans, Hunter to the Browns, listed as a cornerback. I'll take that for what it is. Genty at 6 to the Raiders, Shador to Colorado at 7, Tet to Carolina at 8. Um, Warren at 14 to the Colts. This is my first time looking at it too, so bear with me. Okay, Golden in the first round, Matthew Golden in the first round to the Browns, who traded back up into the first round. Colston Loveland to the Rams, nice landing spot. Luther Burden to the Commanders at pick 29. Emeka Egbuka to the Chiefs. I got to think if this happens in real life, he'll probably be pushed up the board a little bit. But first impressions of this first round. Only one running back so far is my biggest surprise. Heading into round 2, um, Harold Fannin, 36 to the Jaguars. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Trey Harris to the Raiders. Omarion Hampton to the Bears here at 39. Hopefully, I don't skip over these guys. Caleb Johnson at 44 in the second round to the Cowboys. You got to think that's an attractive landing spot for a guy that's been around RB4, RB5 right now. Jalen Milrow to the Giants. Quinshon Judkins to the Cardinals. Interesting. Trey Benson, James Conner just signed again. But hey, let's go back to the well, get a running back in the second round. Jaden Higgins at 51 to the Broncos. He's been a riser since the combine. Let's see. Alec Iomanner to the Bills in the second round, attractive landing spot. Travion Henderson to the Baltimore Ravens in the second round. Could see that happening. Sure, Derrick Henry's back. I'm not exactly sure for how long, but he is up there in age, even though he's been an ageless wonder. Um, Maybe somebody likes that, and that's a pretty good spot to go if he can ever take it over by himself. Should be good on offense in the second round. So second round takeaways. Harold Fannin at 36 is interesting. Trey Harris at 37. All these guys I thought would be going way after guys like Amari and Hampton, Judkins, Johnson, Henderson, all that. It's kind of interesting. Jaden Higgins and Alec Iomanner in the second round is something to keep an eye out. Yeah, I don't think I missed anybody else. So let's go to round 3. Xavier Restrepo at the top of round 3 to the Giants. DJ Giddens to the Chiefs. I'm sure Kyle would absolutely love that. Jalen Royals to the Patriots at round 3. I don't think they took it. They haven't taken anything skill wise on offense so far. So maybe pretty intriguing landing spot there. Jalen Noel from Iowa State here in the third round. Isaiah Bond to the Jets. Noel went to the Saints. I'm sure you saw that anyways. Tez Johnson to the Cowboys. Mason Taylor to the Patriots. Nice. Can't complain. Jackson Dart to the Seahawks. That's interesting. Jack Beck, wide receiver from TCU, to the Steelers. Interesting there. Scattaboo to the Chargers. Wow, that is a nice landing spot for Cam there here in the third round. Torrey Holton from Colorado State and beats me. I haven't heard of him before, but he's relevant today. Maybe I've been sleeping. Will Howard to the Browns in round three. Um, Kyron Lacey to the Packers. Um, and then who the heck is that to the 49ers? Aronde Gadsden the second. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to reference this quite a bit when I'm making picks because some of these guys I just haven't gotten to yet or yet even heard, frankly, of. That's funny. Round three, I don't know. It was kind of crazy, man. I don't really have much else to say. T Ferg to the Titans at the start of round four. Quinn Ewers to the Giants. Didn't they already take a quarterback? Yeah, they took Milrow in the second round. What? All right. Well, I guess it's the NFL draft. I guess anything can happen. All right. Gunnar Helm to the Patriots. They just took Mason Taylor last round. Fair play, I guess. Um, okay, man, maybe this isn't a good idea, but we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. All right. Dylan Gabriel to the Browns, who also took Will Howard around before. Um, Honestly, don't think either one of them are going to crack our draft, if I'm being honest right now. Bashal Tutin, the combine darling, to the Carolina Panthers here in the fourth round. Kind of a steal if you think at this point, considering how many tight ends have gone so far. Ty Felton from Maryland to the Dolphins. All right, Elijah Arroyo to a team that drafted Tyler Warren in the first round. The Colts there in round number four. Um, Savion Williams from TCU to the Titans. Dante Thornton to the Broncos. They've doubled up on wide receivers here in this fake draft. Same with the Packers. Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech. Let's see anybody else down here. That should be it for the fourth round, and then finally round five. Damian Martinez to the Vikings. Okay. Jake Bringstool to the team that drafted Harold Fannin at pick 36 in Jacksonville. Pat Bryant, Illinois, wide receiver to the Seahawks. Ollie Gordon comes off the board here in round five to the Jets. Ricky White to the 49ers. Let's see what else. Tyler Show from Louisville, another combine darling quarterback to the Steelers. Interesting there. Dylan Sampson to the Bears, doubling up there for the Bears. RJ Harvey, the running back from UCF, to the Chargers, who they also drafted Cam Scattaboo, if I remember correctly, earlier in round three. Jaden Blue is going to the Packers, running back from Texas. Kyle Williams, Washington State to the 49ers. I'm starting to get a thing where these teams all have team needs, and I think it's not taking into account once they draft them that need is sort of filled, you know. So I think this is why you're seeing a lot of teams double up on some of these positions here. But that's all we got for now. Um, Moving along, Brashard Smith to the Eagles in round five, kind of a brutal landing spot for him. Taj Brooks to the Titans. Raheem Rocket Sanders to the Cowboys. Uh, and the Cowboys come back again here in the fifth round and draft another running back, Kyle Monagwai from Rutgers. And that is it for our round five mock draft. So I kind of alluded to my initial thoughts on this is I think this mock draft database isn't exactly foolproof. So we're seeing a lot of guys end up on the same teams. Um, it's not horrible. It's not like teams are trading back in the first round for another position of need or one that they've already had or already addressed in the draft. But without further ado, uh, kind of highlighted some of the landing spots, pretty much every skill position um, that I could find on first glance. So we'll go ahead and start the mock draft here at the 101 with Jansen's on the clock. I don't think there's a change here at all, not even a little bit. Ashton Jenney goes in the top 10 to the Raiders who need a lead back or just need weapons in general. Um, Interesting that they passed on Shador Sanders there, but in this world, he's going to Boise, or he's going to Las Vegas. So Jansen's taking Ashton Jenney with the 101 here in our fake universe mock draft, mock pre-draft, I guess. I don't know. You get the picture. All right. At 102, we've got Dakota up here on the board. Now he has options. We got a top 10 receiver in Tat McMillan. I'm looking at his team here. Running backs, Chase Brown, James Cook, not a whole lot else. Which makes me think that I'm still going to stick to my guns from the last mock draft and then go with Omari and Hampton here, the second running back taken. I was thinking Caleb Johnson just because the Cowboys landing spot is pretty good, and we've all been um, thinking, well, is it good though? I mean, their offensive line's kind of crap, but it's a team that you'd think might need the running back the most. You know what I mean? So, but the fact that Omari Hampton ends up in Chicago with Ben Johnson, um, I think that's still attractive enough to keep him there at the RB2 of the class. Um, so yeah, I think I've got to go with that. Dakota going Omari and Hampton at number two. Tommy on the board at 103. I've kind of convinced myself that I think running backs might go 1 through 5 in our draft, possibly. But in this hypothetical world, you have Tetaroa McMillan going in the top 10 at pick number 8 to the Carolina Panthers, who need a number one, who have a quarterback that I think they need a little more questions answered. Bryce came on a little strong towards the end of the year, but he also didn't have a ton of people to throw him the ball or to throw the ball to. So I kind of think that McMillan could be a target hog here from pretty much day one. And I think a top 10 pick here at pick number 3 is all you can pretty much ask for. Um, I know Tommy's picking again, or he's picking uh, quite a bit here in the first round. So he could maybe wait to go wide receiver or double up at a couple wide receivers later and go running back. Um, but I think I'm going to stick here and go with Tet here at 3 for him. Um, as a nice cornerstone for him to build off and as he starts his rebuild. Max is up here at 104. Max needs running backs. Um, we got to go to round 2 to see that, and I think this is where Caleb Johnson goes off the board. I think, like I said before, the Dallas landing spot is really good. Um, I think he'll get a lot of coverage just because it's the Cowboys. And I think with no competition whatsoever, I think he goes Caleb Johnson here um, at the 104. All right, I'm up at 105. Um, it's interesting. I've got quite a bit of options here. I would love to go running back if possible. Emeka Egbuka still goes in the first round um, to the Chiefs, which is a nice landing spot for him. A really nice landing spot. So that's something to think about. In terms of which running back do I like next? Judkins on the Cardinals, thinking that he probably comes in at RB2 for them. Same with Travion Henderson, who goes to um, the Ravens here, backing up Derrick Henry for at least a year. I I think I'm going to go with Travion here at 105. Um, Equal landing spots in terms of they're not going to start day one. Um, but I'm going to bet on the better run offense traditionally or historically. Plus the fact that I don't know what are you going to do with Derrick Henry here in a year or two. I think this could pay dividends maybe next year. I still think he might get some run this year, but I'm going to go with Travion Henderson here at 105 to myself. Max is up here on the board once again. I think so. He's got Worthy. All right. And I know Golden is also a first rounder. He's the second running or second wide receiver taken. We've also got great landing spots with tight ends. I know he's up back to back here at 6 and 7. So I'm trying to figure out what he would want to do. I still think you go best player available here, and the next best running back. Yeah, let's see if I can remember correctly. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's another one here in the second round. I think Scattaboo to the Chargers maybe, but can't imagine too many people are high on him. DJ Giddens is also there at the Chiefs. That's a great spot too. That'll be one of the conversations too, is when you have the Judkins and the Hendersons of the world going to teams that are probably going to not feature them right away. I think there's somebody like DJ Giddens or Cam Scattaboo here in the third round that you think that if they're as good as some people think they are, that they could be the starter day one. But for argument's sake, we're not gonna pass up here on a wide receiver here, and I think we're gonna go with the best landing spot here, which is a Emeka Egbuka, without a doubt. Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, uh, Emeka Egbuka is a pretty good wide receiver trio with Kelsey expected to take a back seat a little bit. Um, I think that you just bet on that. And Max already has Worthy, and I think that's a fun tandem to have, especially if one of them goes down. That's nice flexibility that the other will get a nice boost. And I guess we'll go right back into Max's next pick at 107. I'm gonna have him go Tyler Warren here. I think tight end is something that he could need. He's got, I mean, if you think about it, after you add Ibuka, he'll have Marvin, Rome, Worthy, JSN, Igbuka. That's five pretty solid wide receivers to have. Tight end room, Sanat, Sanders, Otten, good players. I think you're going to reach for just total upside here with Warren, who I think could be a pretty impactful player, especially because the Colts really don't have exceptional wide receiver play. I'd say it's like B-ish. So there's a world where he could find his place as the number one receiving option on that team, as well as uh, the other skill set he brings to the table. So we're going to go to Warren there at 107 for Max. And then we've got Tommy up for two. Um, Tommy went Tet McMillan first pick. I think here you see you know what? I think the way for Tommy to build, and if he wants to go differently, here's his two options. I think for sure you go another wide receiver, and whether it's you like Golden, you like Burden here with Jaden Daniels, which is a fun landing spot, or you have Colston Loveland sitting there to the Rams with Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, and Puka Nakua. That's a fun offense to get a little piece of. Um, let's see what I'll do. You know what? Let's just the I think a good way to rebuild might just be to load on wide receivers. Bet on first round wide receivers, um, and then I think your overall ceiling as a team, I think, is the way to go. And it's possible that he still might have like Loveland with his next pick available. Um, so yeah, I think we're gonna go. Let's just go with the next two wide receivers off the board. Let's go Golden and Burden to pair up with Ted McMillan. Um, I think that's a great move, getting the top three wide receivers to start your rebuild. of the class. Just play the numbers game. You got to think at least one of those guys is a top 10 dynasty asset before the year is all said and done. If they have a pretty good year, so I kind of like that strategy for now. So 108, 109, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden to Tommy. I'm back up at the 110. Uh, I think Loveland's really attractive here, but I don't think I have a place with him for Bowers. Um, I think I'm looking here at Giddens, who's got a great landing spot. Pretty much a second round pick as the second pick in the third round. I think that's where I'm going to roll because I think doubling up on running backs, especially you've got uh, Travion and Quinshawn, uh, which I've already covered before. Just behind James Conner, Derrick Henry, this guy might have a better chance of getting on the field and actually being a plug and play person in my lineup for this year with the same upside. As I wanted out of the number 5 pick, just at a slightly worse prospect, but a better landing spot. So we'll go with Giddens here at 10. Tommy's back up at the 111. I think slam dunk. He ends up. We did that whole debate on him on the 8 and 9, but Loveland's still there, and in the first round for the Rams, I think that's perfect. The 3 top wide receivers, the number 2 tight end. That's a pretty good. That's the fantasy equivalent of building through the trenches, I think. Going the wide receiver, pass catcher route to start your rebuild. Hunter's up at the clock at the 112 or up on the clock. Um, Gibbs, Henry, Connor. Um, you know, and his wide receivers are good. And you're not going after Loveland goes. He's not going tight end. For running back, I think he's going running back here. Or I mean, I guess you could take a flyer on Travis Hunter here. So Hunter or I mean Judkins is still on the board too. I didn't even think about that. Behind um behind Connor. That's not a bad go, but I'll take Hunter at his word this time. We'll have Travis Hunter go off the board at the 112. Jansen back up on the clock. Let's see, did we get through the first round? I believe we did, other than the quarterbacks. So hopefully I didn't miss any of those. But moving on to our round 2 of rookie draft at the 201. Jansen's already picked Ashton Jenny. In terms of what he could use next is pretty much anything. So we're looking at, Higgins to the Broncos is a fun landing spot. Judkins is still there. I think you just got to go best player available. And let's give me Judkins here for Jansen at a value. I didn't think he'd make it out of round 1, but that's just the way it unfolded. I really didn't think about him when I was looking about other teams trying to pick running backs, but I think it's a nice pull there for Jansen. Dakota's back up for the second pick of the second round. I'm looking here. What are potential options? I said Higgins last time. Um, I don't know. Iomanner goes to the Bill. That's a fun landing spot. Trey Harris, Harold Fannin, second round picks early. Um, what does Dakota need? Let's take a look. He got Laporta. He's fine at tight end. No Fannin. Maybe Trey Harris. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what like that's just a good spot for him to go at. Especially because they only got Jacoby Myers and Bowers as pass catchers there. I think there's a high ceiling. I guess we'll go Trey Harris. I've given my analysis on him before. Kind of raw in my opinion, but he looks like he's got all the traits to be pretty damn good. I think I'm just going best available. Maybe you'll disagree with me, but this whole fake landing spot thing is really shifting my opinion on some of these players. Not to say I don't like guys like Trey Harris or anything. I think they're very solid, but also a little bit before I thought I'd be taking them off the board, especially because Judkins just went at 201. Max is back up. He's got a bunch of players. Uh, who's my best available right now? I have no clue. Um, let's take a look at round three. Make sure there isn't anything great. Scataboo is fun. Honestly, I don't hate it. All right, because uh, there's a lot of running opportunity in the Harbaugh offense, and Scataboo's kind of a beast. I mean, he's not exactly my favorite prospect profile, but it kind of fits what I would think the Chargers are looking to do. You know, he kind of screams like a Harbaugh guy. At the 203, I think that's a nice time to take a swing on that because the Chargers are a great backfield. Um, you know, whoever ends up going there, if they do go running back, is certainly getting propped up the board. And maybe this is a steal, but I think I'm going with Scataboo here at 203 for Max to help out that running back room still. And then he's back up again at the 204. Geez, this guy is picking all the time. Um, going back to round two. He already got a tight end. I just don't think you double up on tight ends like that real quick. But I do love the Fannin spot right here. His quarterbacks are good. He already went running back a couple of times. Man, yeah. As this goes on, I'm gonna have trouble because I don't really remember where all these guys ended up. Um, you know what? Let's go with Jalen Royals. All right, New England has very little pass catching options right now, and I think if you believe in Drake May at all, you think Royals has got a shot to be his number one. And I really like that. And I think that's what you're looking for at this point, maybe. So let's go Jalen Royals, third round pick at the beginning of the third round, going at the 204 here to Max. Riley's on the board here at the 205. I think this is where, like, I had this mock last time. Yeah, Cam Ward is still on the board. Um, he's got Penix and a bunch of old guys and T-Law. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to go QB. It's just I've always had a difficult time placing this year's QBs um, out because it doesn't. We don't really. There's not a team that I look at and I'm like screams quarterback, you know. Um, so I'm just gonna. I need. He'll be off the board by now, and I just think this is the first chance that I can see it, you know. So I think I'm gonna go Cam Ward here at 205. I don't feel good about it, but I do think that he's gone by this point. Jansen's back up here again. Um, he's had quite the day so far. I think you go Higgins here. I do. I think um, second round receiver. I think Jansen might like Bo Nix and think there's target opportunities there. I mean, Sutton's getting older. Um, you know, Franklin and Mims are nothing to really write home about up to this point, especially since they're addressing wide receiver here in the second round. So I think I'm going Jaden Higgins here, to Jansen here at the 206. Dakota's back up again at 207. Um, you know, who's the next best running back? I probably need to do that. Or I probably need to be aware of who that is. Tez Johnson to the Cowboys is a nice landing spot. They need a number two badly, and this is a good spot for that. And so we'll roll with that. We'll roll with that. Um, Tez Johnson here at 207 to Dakota. Hunter's back up here on the board at 208. Um, Shit, I don't know. I think here, I mean, honestly, if War is still here and I'm looking at it and I'm Hunter who doesn't have a ton of holes on his team, you're looking at Anthony Richardson could be a starter next year. I don't think this is the time for quarterback, but I could see it. Cam was on the board. I think you have more of a argument over Shador. Tua, like both of these guys are uncertain, but I guess you can wait for quarterback till next year if you're Hunter. So maybe I'm talking myself out of that. Um, Second round tight end, Harold Fannon's still on the board, I believe. And if I repeat these, I'm sorry. Like, bear with me. This is my head's going all over the place on this one. Uh, yeah, I don't think tight end either. Um, let's go. Who's in round four? How about Tootin? We'll go Tootin at the 212 or the 208. I think there's some opportunity to be had in Carolina. Um, I think running back is probably his weakest position. It's so hard. His team's pretty good. Yeah, we'll just roll with it. Kyle's up at 209. Uh, Gosh. You know what? What does Kyle got? Kraft and Hawkinson. He probably likes those guys too good. I can't place Fannin anywhere right now. Um, Quarterbacks are good. Man, is this round four? Man, I don't know if you want to go round five running back right now. Damian Martinez, Dylan Sampson, Blue, RJ Harvey. I mean, you still got Io Manor in the second round still there. Yeah, that's still a good landing spot. That's the Bills. That's Josh Allen. And you're sitting there at 209. He's still on the board. I think that's the fall has gone on long enough. 211, I'm up on the board. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking just best player available, best spot available. Yeah, I could go my quarterbacks. I've only got Bryce and Kyler. I could go Shador. Harold Fannin is screaming at me right now. Still, I've been saying that. Then you have the round five running backs, which I think are the only running backs left. At this point, it doesn't matter. This is basically the third round, so I can pretty much go anywhere. I'm gonna go. I'll go with. Was it? Should I go to the Jets? That's a weird spot. You just signed Fields. I guess maybe Fields is a 2-year bridge. But when is Shador getting on the field? Are they gonna rush him again? Are they gonna? No way. That in itself is too many questions for me to put Shador there right now. And I think I've got Fryermuth, I've got Bowers, man. But like, what's like, when is Fannin ever gonna start for me? Making sure I'm not missing anybody. Higgins went, Io Manor went, Milrose's still there. Same thing, But he went to the Giants, which is interesting. He'll probably see the field sooner rather than later. That's not a great landing spot for Milrow, who I think needs to cook a little bit. Restrepo, Jalen Noel, Isaiah Bond, Mason Taylor, uh, tight ends, Jackson Dart. Man, this is tough. This is tough, especially because it's my own pick. You know what? Well, LSU wide receivers have been good to me. I'm going to this. I'm going for Kyron Lacey. He's got some Brad problems. He's got bust written him all over him, but man, I've been rewarded by LSU receivers too good or too in the past year that I think it makes a little bit of sense. I guess I don't know. Yes, as good as mine at this point in the draft. Jansen back up at the 212. I think this is a slam dunk. I left Fannin up for him. He's still on the board. Maybe I already took him. I don't know, but um, I haven't been really keeping track since I just did this mock draft simulation. But if he's on the board, great. We'll go Harold Fannin here. Slam dunk for yeah. I had him take Royals. That's right. Um, yeah. So we're gonna go with Fannin here, who I believe I still haven't drafted. Um, and Jansen walks away there pretty happy getting a second round tight end with no competition. Max is up again for three picks or for two picks in a row 301, 302. Um, at this point in the third round, I'm just going for best available and some interesting landing spots. I think the second round has pretty much been squeezed out, other than Milrow and Shador is still there. Restrepo, I think this is fine. Top of the third round, basically a second round pick, probably wide receiver two, if not wide receiver three. Um, for the Giants, what more could you ask for? He'll get on the field, probably get some catches, probably put up some numbers. I think that's as safe as a third round pick goes. Go ahead and do that. Noel's there. Isaiah Bond is there. Just off draft capital alone. Scadaboo's gone. Not paying attention to the quarterbacks. Mason Taylor could go back to tight end here. Um, I mean Mason Taylor to the Patriots. I mean, he already went tight end though. I'm not so sure about that. Let's just go upside. Uh, how about Jalen Noel? How about Jalen Noel? Why not? Well, call me stupid, but um, hey, we'll do it. Kyle up at the 303. I'm sure he'll have a good take here. Perfect time. Uh, let's see, Damian Martinez. You gotta like that for the Vikings. I know they picked up somebody else. I know Aaron Jones is gonna be there, but I thought they picked somebody else up as well. Pat Bryant to the Seahawks is interesting. They drafted Jackson Dart. They got Sam Darnold. They only have JSN. I think that's a nice one there. I know it's round five, but it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of just getting on the field. So we'll go Pat Bryant here at 303 for Kyle. Max Shocker is up again. Let's just go ahead and double up on tight ends. Let's go get Mason Taylor for the Pats for Max. Look, I'm tired of I can't just keep giving him wide receivers and running backs. I think I've had him do that two or three times already. Um, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's get him. Let's get him Mason Taylor. Just I have nothing else to do. Maybe Shador at this point. I mean, I don't know. Like, why would he do that? Shane Daniels and JJ McCarthy are just spectacular to have. Um, Jansen's up again. Who's got two good quarterbacks? Like you see my problem here. Like, where do these quarterbacks go? You know, because I'm sure at least two. I know two. I'm pretty sure three or four are going to be drafted before it's all said and done. Jansen's on the board. How about Damian Martinez? I like that. Maybe that'll work out here for him in the future. Um, yeah, and then he's up again. And let's go RJ Harvey. Let's just do the running back roulette here. Um, I think Harvey will be gone before this because I think there's a couple people in the league and just in the dynasty community that really like this guy, and it's a great landing spot. And if you think he's better than Scadaboo, then you're getting him at a value here in the middle of the third round, and you just roll the dice that he wins the job. So I like it. My guess. All right, Hunter's back up again. How about I don't know. Gosh, Hunter's the worst one to draft because He doesn't need anything. We'll go Homer pick because it's easy. Um, let's go Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane for the Packers. Isaiah Bond is still there. Jalen. Well, how about Bond? We'll go with Bond. Isaiah Bond here in the middle of the third round. Hunter. Tommy's back on the board or up on the clock again. We'll do the Homer pick for that one. We'll do Jalen Lane for the Packers because why not? If you're gonna roll the dice on somebody on your favorite team. Riley's back up here at the 309. Um, maybe he's got a suspicion that Helm might beat out Taylor. Maybe double up, maybe sell T-Law for scraps. And Penix is gone, and maybe do the double quarterback route, take the top two people in the top 10, maybe get Shador. I don't want to, that's too boring. I'm not giving them two quarterbacks. How about how about Jack Beck from TCU? This is a guy, yes, you're gonna raise your red flags, all of you are, because he's TCU wide receiver. Some people don't even have him as the best TCU wide receiver of the year. I forgot his name. What's his name? Savion Williams, who's still on the board. Went to the Titans. But Beck is interesting. He's lit it up at the Senior Bowl. He transferred from LSU, where he outproduced some of these receivers that are held in high regard today. He outproduced them the 1 year he was there, 2 years he was there. I don't know what it was, but um, yes, he's wide receiver three, maybe four, depending on how good Roman Wilson is. But I had to squeeze him in somewhere because this guy should be getting some love, and I know that TCU tag is not a good one to have when you're a wide receiver, but we'll throw him in there right before the end of the draft. Um, all right, 310. Irv is on the board for the first time. And Irv's got Purdy, Fields, Burrow. He should be good. I mean, like Shador's still on the board, and I don't think any of us agree that he'll still be there. Um, Irv, good. He's good everywhere. Maybe not like this guy's gonna really break his thing, or it's not really gonna crack his lineup anytime soon. But how about Dylan Sampson? Since they doubled up on running backs, the Bears did with Omarion. Uh, I'm thinking Swift is gone. Anybody else viable is gone, or just values reduced to zero, and then hope that Sampson and Omarion are the Chicago version of Gibbs and Monty. At this point, why not? I'm grabbing at straws here. And then final two picks. Kyle's up on the board. How about Jaden Blue right here? I'm looking at him right now. He's got Jacobs. How about an insurance policy here late in the draft? You're not going to move this pick. You know, Jacobs goes down. Maybe Kyle gets a little bit of an insurance thing here. Maybe not. And then finally, Max is up at the 312, where I have him taking Ollie Gordon for a number of reasons. Uh, One, I think there's no way that he's a free agent for waiver wires. I just don't think so. I think we held him in high regard too much last year for him to just not get drafted. He went to OSU. Max is a poke, self-proclaimed Cowboy fan. Um, and the triple Lindy. Uh, he's a Jets running back that isn't Brees Hall. That's just been his calling card. But I think this checks off too many boxes, and it's a good way to end this impromptu mock draft. Um, so yeah, that I know was a mess, but maybe um, it's fun. It's fun to think about because come draft day, you're gonna be like, what? He went there, And you're like, no way, that just doesn't make any sense because that happens every year, and I think it's fun to kind of put teams to names here and see where people end up. Let's take a look at potential people like top waiver wire prospects, maybe. Um, I don't think I know round one is clean. I mean, I guess you've got Shador, who I didn't find a spot for. Um, and that should be it of the first round. Um, Second round guys that are still on the board. Milrow, a lot like all these quarterbacks are. And then that should be it, really, because I don't think I would have left any one of these guys still on the board. I was grasping for straws here late. Oops. And then round three, well, these guys all went. Tess Johnson, Mason Taylor, Beck went, Scadaboo went, Torrey Holton. Don't know who that guy is. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna watch it tonight, I guess. Um, he's a third round pick that's still on the board. That's a nice grab, especially with the Texans. Um, Will Howard didn't. Yeah, no one's grabbing him anyways. This weird tight end, Andre Gadsden the second. If you know him, then you apparently know more ball than I do. Um, Probably Trevor grabs him, right? Round four, Terrence Ferguson. Didn't even see him up there. Not that I was going to take him. Ewers. I already said Milrow. I think I went Ewers and Milrow. Gunnar Helm still on the board. Gabriel. Tootin went. Arroyo. Ty Felton. Savion Williams. Dante Thornton. Um, Yeah, no one really of note that I'm like, ooh, that's the number one waiver wire guy. Probably Shador, almost certainly. I think, did I skip? No, I did not. Uh, yeah, I think I took Damian Martinez. If not, then he'd be up there. Bringstool, never heard of him. Like all these tight ends, if you need to beef up your tight end position, it looks like there might be some good guys still here. Brashard Smith to the Eagles, pretty bad landing spot. For him, kind of does the same stuff Kenneth Gainwell does, which is interesting. Taj Brooks, uh, he's very solid too. I think all these running backs probably find a home. Kyle Williams, Ricky White. Yeah, but that's about it, right? Like I've kind of touched on everything there. But yeah, like there's some good people still available. Some guys that I think are worthy to be drafted. Some guys I don't know yet. It's also very early. But yeah, like I said, it's a fun exercise. It's some content. Hope you guys enjoyed it because I actually had fun with it. Doing the mock draft simulator was fun. Hopefully, I didn't just ramble and just give you word like word diarrhea for like an hour. But hey, here we go. This is how it's gonna be. Like I said before, hope to be back later. I'll be making some cuts on my team selection here soon. I'll send you guys something out whenever I've got that done. But yeah, expect more mock drafts to come. Maybe I'll do another one of these before the draft is all said and done. Now that I'm a little bit more familiar with this website and who they're going to prop up and stuff like that. But until then, uh, I know you guys have missed me. I've missed y'all. Till next time.